Hello everybody, it's Shawn Petite and I am back for Crash the Stash. I took a little break, but here we are and we're going to be creating this gorgeous journal page today that just means so much to me and has so much meaning in all of the different papers. But right off the bat, I just wanted to share with you, I normally will work in a journal, but I decided to make my own this time. I prefer having a bound journal. I use the spiral bound, and I think I like the other type better. So I'm making my own today. I've taken eight and a half by 11 cardstock pieces of paper and folded them in half. And I'm using my awl and a pencil and just kind of freehanding the holes, taking my waxed twine and doing it, creating a length of 3 times the actual size of the journal itself. And I'm threading that waxed thread through with a very large needle, and I'm starting in the middle and going to the outside holes, and then I'll repeat that process to the outside holes again, and then I will end up in the middle. And once I bring that back through the middle, I want to make sure that both sides of the string are on the opposite sides of the middle string so that I can tie a nice good knot and keep it in place. And then once we finish this, I will decorate the outside of the journal and create something really fun. But for now, we're just going to move on and start creating, and I'm putting a piece of tape down, masking tape, to help alleviate any seepage of paint and stuff like that. So, and Crash the Stash, if you're new to my YouTube channel, Crash the Stash is about using all of the wonderful papers that I have in my stash, and I have a ton. And so sometimes I get lost in the process of searching for papers because it's my thing. I love it. So I will just pull out a whole bunch of things that really I respond to and excites me and gives me ideas and things like that. And also when I have a thought process about where I'm taking a journal page, things that actually tell the story without me even writing anything. So all of the pieces that I'm using today all have something that is to be said. So like I'm putting a clock down and I'm thinking about time, not enough time. And there's a vintage cassette tape, and that reminds me of the tapes that play in my head that tell me I'm not enough. And the birds and the butterflies, sometimes I want to fly away. All of those things like that have meaning, and it's telling my story without saying a word. So I'm using my face stencil, and this is the face straight ahead stencil. And I'm using all DecoArt Media products today, and that's just carbon black fluid acrylic. And I took the stencil away, and before it dries, I'm just using a small brush and going over it with a little bit of water to kind of soften those edges so that it looks kind of charcoal or watercolor, just to really kind of soften that up. I'm going to leave the eyes alone because I want those to really stand out. But everything else I want to kind of try and soften up just a little bit before that paint dries. And I'm going to start adding some shading, and it's all a process. It's a dance of putting down layers and creating depth and dimension without taking away too much of those wonderful papers underneath that's telling my story. And so I'm working with all of my color shading will be with Prussian blue, quinacridone magenta, yellow oxide. I try not to create a specific color for the face. Like I want all the different colors and use different colors for shading to create interest and drama. And so I'm using DecoArt has a really great gold metallic fluid acrylic that I'm using. I use a lot of, and I just put that in her eyes to add some reflectiveness, and I'll use it a couple of times in her hair and around the edges, just to give it some unexpected fun and glimmer shimmer. And again, I'm shading with lights and darks, but trying to use different colors instead of black or brown or that kind of thing to give depth and dimension to her face. So as I begin to kind of block out her hair, I want it to look wild and free and still be able to show all of the magic that's underneath all of those papers that tell my story. And so I've got a mixture of paint here, and it kind of goes to mud, and that's what I like. I've got some gold in there, I've got some yellow oxide, I've got some titanium white, some teal, just kind of creating this non-color to kind of block things out. And initially when I start kind of adding details and I want to kind of save some of my papers, I will circle or go around them initially so that I know to kind of move around that certain area. And then I will go over heavily in other areas that just aren't speaking to me, aren't doing anything for me. And I'm spraying a little bit of alcohol on here to kind of get this that bubble kind of oxide look, and to be able to pick up some of that paint and make it still transparent but substantive, to be able to create some depth. So as I'm putting my paint down, I'm wiping it back constantly so that I've got color and yet I'm still allowing the layers to show through. Now I'm adding just a little bit of wildness to her hair. I knew I wanted a little bit more color in there, and I wasn't sure if I added flowers, and so this is representational of flowers and leaves and different things, and that yellow is a yellow oxide and a little bit of gold mixed in with it, teal, and quinacridone magenta fluid acrylics. And now I'm just using my fine liner to add some additional interest. White and black always kind of neutralize or draw the eye around your project. And so I'm adding just a couple of marks here and there with my fine liner. And my fine liner has fluid acrylic, water, and airbrush medium in it. And we are almost done, my friends. So I hope you enjoyed today's project, and I'm glad to be back for Crash the Stash. And I will be here every other week with a new Crash the Stash. The new design team will also be here crashing their stash, so you'll have all kinds of fun projects to look forward to. And if you liked today's video, hit like and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of the videos that I'm doing, any of the fun projects. And I hope you have a wonderful day.